There's a sacred moment each day when heaven and earth intertwine, a mystical instant known to few. But Padre Pio understood its profound power. He harnessed this divine light with a gesture so simple it will astound you. Have you ever woken feeling the weight of the day before it even begins? A shadowy presence settling over your home, a burden you can't quite explain. I know that feeling. It's like carrying a weight you can't define. But what you are about to discover changed the lives of thousands, and it all began with a single drop of holy water. A single drop, placed in the right spot, at the precise moment, following the wisdom of one of history's most powerful saints. Padre Pio knew secrets most people never imagined. He understood the deep connection between physical and spiritual light, an invisible bridge forming precisely when the sun rises. I'll tell you something few know. In his final years, Padre Pio received hundreds of letters from desperate people waking up hopeless, families shattered, hearts broken. And to many, he gave the same singular advice. Place holy water on your windowsill at dawn and watch a miracle unfold. It seems too simple to be true, doesn't it? But there's a spiritual science behind this that will leave you speechless. Holy water isn't just water. It's water that has undergone a process of consecration, a molecular transformation that science is only beginning to understand. Recent studies show that water has memory. It absorbs and retains energetic vibrations. When a priest blesses the water, he's not just performing a ritual, he's altering the water's energetic structure, creating an antenna capable of receiving divine frequencies. And do you know the most powerful time to use this antenna? Exactly when the first rays of sun touch the earth. Because dawn isn't just the start of a new day, it's a moment of cosmic renewal. Emily, a nurse from New York City, was living through the worst months of her life. 3 consecutive job losses, family problems, a depression that seemed endless. She wrote to me, describing how she woke up each day with an agonizing tightness in her chest, as if something terrible were about to happen. That's when she discovered this teaching from Padre Pio. At first, she thought it was silly, but her despair was so profound that she decided to try. On the first morning, she placed a few drops of holy water on her bedroom windowsill. What happened left her speechless. That same day, she received an unexpected call for a job interview, a position she didn't even know existed. Coincidence, perhaps, but she decided to repeat the ritual the following morning, and that's when everything changed. On the second day, her sister, with whom she hadn't spoken in years, called to apologize. On the third day, she received an even better job offer. On the fourth day, she met someone special in her building's elevator. In 1 week, the entire energy of her life had been transformed, as if an invisible door had opened, as if light had finally found a way in. But why does this work? What really happens when we place holy water on the windowsill at dawn? Padre Pio explained that there are moments in the day when the veil between the physical and spiritual realms thins, and dawn is the most significant of these. It's when the earth awakens from its nightly slumber, when energies are renewed, when God sends his first blessing of the day. The holy water acts like a liquid crystal. It absorbs this first divine light and spreads it throughout the home, creating a field of protection and abundance that lasts all day. Have you ever noticed how some houses have a different energy? How some places make us feel instantly good? This isn't a coincidence. It's the result of spiritual practices that sanctify the environment. When you place holy water on the windowsill at dawn, you're creating a portal of light, an entry point for divine blessings. It's as if you're tuning your home to the frequency of the sacred, but there's a specific way to do this. It's not just any holy water. It's not just any time. It's not just any window. Padre Pio was very precise in his instructions. First, the water must be truly blessed. It's not water you bless yourself. It needs to be consecrated by an ordained priest, preferably holy water from Holy Thursday or days of great liturgical significance. Second, the window must face east, toward the direction where the sun rises, because that's where the first light comes from, the light of creation, the light that renews all things. Third, the timing is crucial. It can't be any time in the morning, as it must be exactly when the first rays of sun appear on the horizon. This is the magical moment, the moment of transformation. And there's more. The quantity matter. You're not supposed to pour all the water in just a few drops. 3 drops are enough. 1 in the name of the Father, 1 in the name of the Son, 1 in the name of the Holy Spirit. You place these 3 drops on the windowsill or in a small transparent container and let the rising sun touch the water. It's at this moment that the miracle happens. The sunlight activates the energy of the holy water as if it were a spiritual battery being charged, and this energy spreads throughout the house, creating an atmosphere of peace, protection, and abundance. Michael, a businessman from Los Angeles, was going through a terrible financial crisis. His company was failing. The banks were demanding payment. His family was desperate. He told me that he woke up every day with a feeling of failure. It was his mother, a devout follower of Padre Pio, who taught him this ritual. At first, he resisted. He thought it was superstition, but the situation was so critical that he decided to try. On the first morning, he woke up before sunrise. He placed 3 drops of holy water on the living room windowsill, and he watched the first rays of light touch the water. That same day, he received an unexpected call, an old client wanting to resume a project that had been cancelled. The amount? Exactly what he needed to pay off his most urgent debts. But that was only the beginning. In the following days, opportunities began to emerge from all sides, partnerships that seemed impossible, clients who returned out of the blue, solutions that appeared when he least expected them. In 2 months, not only did he save the company, but it grew more than it had in the last 3 years, as if an unseen force was working in his favor. But here's what strikes me most about this story. Michael told me that the biggest change wasn't financial, it was spiritual. He began to feel a peace he had never experienced before, a confidence that he was protected, a certainty that you are not alone. And that's exactly what Padre Pio wanted us to understand. This ritual isn't about receiving material miracles. It's about opening our hearts to the divine presence. It's about transforming our homes into sanctuaries. It's about beginning each day in harmony with the sacred. Do you know why some people seem luckier than others? Why some families live in harmony while others are in constant conflict? Why some homes radiate peace while others feel heavy and dark? The difference lies in the spiritual energy of the environment. And this energy can be transformed. It can be purified. It can be elevated. When you place holy water on your window at dawn, you're doing more than a ritual. You're declaring that your home belongs to God. You're inviting divine light to enter. You're creating a shield of protection against negative forces. Padre Pio knew we live in difficult times, times when darkness seems to be winning, times when evil disguises itself as good, times when we need spiritual protection more than ever. And he left us simple, yet powerful tools that anyone can use. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter if you live in a mansion or a small apartment. It doesn't matter if you're new to the faith or have been devout for decades. What matters is the sincerity of the heart, genuine faith, the willingness to open your life to divine action. Anna, a retired teacher from a small town in the Midwest, lived alone in a modest apartment. After losing her husband, she fell into a deep sadness. Her children lived far away. Friends drifted apart. She felt forgotten by the world. It was during a novena to Padre Pio that she discovered this teaching. She decided to put it into practice, even without much hope. After all, what difference could 3 drops of water make? But something changed from the very first day. The feeling of loneliness lessened, as if a warm presence had settled into the apartment. Neighbors started greeting her more often. An old friend called out of the blue. One of her children decided to visit her on the weekend. Small changes, small miracles, but they completely transformed her routine. In a few months, Anna became a different person. She smiled again. She resumed old hobbies. She started participating in church groups. Today, she says those 3 drops of water saved her life, because that's what happens when we invite God to dwell in our home. Not only does our life change, we change. Our perspective transforms. Our faith strengthens. Our hope is reborn. And do you know what else Padre Pio said about this ritual? That it works best when performed with gratitude. It's not about asking for things. It's about thanking in advance for the blessings to come. When you place those 3 drops on the window, don't think about the problems you want to solve. Think about God's goodness, divine mercy, the certainty that you are loved and protected. It is this attitude of gratitude that opens the heavens. It is this trust that moves mountains. It is this faith that transforms ordinary water into an instrument of miracles. But there's something even deeper to this teaching. something Padre Pio revealed only to his closest confidants. The holy water on the window isn't just to protect your home, it's to protect the entire neighborhood. When the sunlight touches the holy water, it slowly evaporates. And this evaporation carries the blessings into the surrounding air, creating a field of protection that extends far beyond the walls of your house. That's why in some Italian towns, where this ritual is more common, people report less violence, fewer accidents, fewer family conflicts. As if an invisible peace hovered over the place. Imagine the transformative power if more people knew about this practice. If every block had a window with holy water receiving the first light of day, if each dawn brought a new wave of blessings to the community. Carlos, a police officer from a large city, decided to try this ritual after a series of very difficult shifts. He worked in a violent part of the city. Every day was a new tragedy, a new shattered family, a new reason to lose faith in humanity. His wife, who was devoted to Padre Pio, suggested he put holy water on the window before leaving for work. Carlos thought it was silly, but he was so tired of so much violence that he decided to try. What happened in the following days intrigued him. Incidents in his area dropped dramatically. Conflicts that usually ended in tragedy were resolved peacefully. Criminals surrendered without resistance. Families in crisis found unexpected solutions. In a month, Carlos became known among his colleagues as the lucky cop. But he knew it wasn't luck. It was divine protection in action. Today, Carlos teaches this ritual to other officers, and many report similar experiences, as if an unseen force was working in favor of peace and justice, because that's what happens when we place our lives under divine protection. We are not only protected, we become instruments of protection for others. The holy water on the window creates waves of blessings that spread far beyond what we can imagine. It touches lives we don't even know. It transforms situations we don't even know exist. It's a beautiful responsibility and an immense privilege. But there's an important detail I need to tell you. This ritual does not replace prayer. It does not replace Mass. It does not replace the sacraments. It's a complement, an additional practice that enhances our spiritual life. Padre Pio always emphasized that small acts of faith are powerful, but they need to be connected with a consistent prayer life. The holy water on the window is like a seed, but to germinate, it needs the fertile soil of a heart that constantly seeks God. Therefore, when you start this practice, also say a short prayer. It could be the Our Father. It could be a Hail Mary. It could be a simple and sincere conversation with God. The important thing is that that moment becomes sacred, that those moments of dawn are completely dedicated to the divine. Lucia, a doctor from a coastal city, transformed this ritual into a daily moment of meditation. She wakes up 15 minutes before sunrise, places the 3 drops of holy water on the window, and sits in silence, just watching the light appear on the horizon. She told me that these 15 minutes have become the most important moment of her day. It's when she connects with God. It's when she surrenders her worries. It's when she receives the peace she needs to face another day at the hospital. And the results? Beyond the personal spiritual transformation, Lucia noticed her patients began to recover more quickly. Their surgeries had fewer complications. Her team became more harmonious. It was as if the peace she received at dawn spread to everywhere she went during the day. This is the true magic of the holy water by the window. It's not just about receiving blessings, it's about becoming a blessing to the world. Each drop of water that evaporates in the sunlight carries our prayers to the heavens and brings back divine answers, creating a perfect cycle of connection between earth and paradise. But there's an even deeper secret that Padre Pio only revealed in personal letters, a secret that can exponentially multiply the power of this ritual. The holy water works best when blessed with a specific intention. It's not just any holy water, it's holy water for the protection of the home, holy water for family harmony, holy water for blessed prosperity. When you go to church to get the holy water, talk to the priest, explain your intention, ask him to bless the water specifically for that purpose. This spiritual personalization multiplies the power of the ritual. And there's more. Padre Pio recommended that the holy water be renewed every new moon, because just as the moon renews its cycles, our spiritual connection needs to be constantly renewed. Each new moon, you take a new bottle to be blessed, and begin a new cycle of blessings in your home. Roberto, a lawyer from Porto Alegre. Actually, let's make that a lawyer from New Orleans, because the name Porto Alegre isn't well known in the US. Roberto, a lawyer from New Orleans, has been following this guidance exactly for 3 years. Every new moon, he goes to church to get new holy water and renews his commitment to this sacred ritual. He told me that his life has been completely transformed, not just professionally but in every area. His marriage has strengthened. His children have become more obedient and studious. His health has improved. His prosperity has increased. But most importantly, Roberto developed an intimacy with God that he had never experienced before. Those morning moments became personal encounters with the divine, and that's exactly what Padre Pio wanted to happen. This ritual isn't about superstition, it's about relationship. It's about creating bridges of communication between our daily lives and our spiritual lives. Each dawn becomes an opportunity for renewal. Each ray of sun that touches the holy water is a divine embrace. Each day that begins like this is a blessed day from the very first hour. Can you imagine what it would be like to live like this? To wake up every day knowing you are protected, knowing that your home is a sanctuary, knowing that God is taking care of every detail of your life. This is the promise contained in this simple ritual. A promise that Padre Pio made to thousands of people and that has been fulfilled in the life of each one of them. But for it to work, you need faith, genuine faith. Faith that goes beyond rational understanding. Faith that accepts that God can act through the simplest means. If you are going through a difficult time, if your home feels heavy, if your family is in conflict, if your life needs a transformation, try this teaching of Padre Pio. Start tomorrow. Before the sun rises, put 3 drops of holy water on the window facing east. Say a simple prayer and watch with faith what God will do. But remember, miracles rarely happen instantly. They usually come as a series of small, positive coincidences, like doors that open unexpectedly, like people who appear at the right time, like solutions that arise when we least expect them. Pay attention to these signs. Write down the small positive changes. Give thanks for every blessing, no matter how small it may seem, because that's how God works, through small miracles that accumulate and completely transform our reality. And when you experience this transformation, share it with other people. Teach this ritual to your family, to your friends, to anyone who needs hope. Because this is another important part of Padre Pio's teaching. The blessings received must be shared. The light that enters our home should also illuminate other homes. This is the first step of a spiritual journey that can transform not only your life, but your entire community. The beginning of a silent revolution of love and faith that can change the world. One house at a time, one family at a time, one dawn at a time. But there's something I haven't told you yet, something that Padre Pio only revealed to his closest spiritual children. A secret that can further enhance the power of this sacred ritual. The holy water by the window is just the beginning. It's the gateway to a world of spiritual practices that can completely sanctify your home and your life. Padre Pio taught that our home should be a reflection of heaven on earth. Each room should be a sanctuary. Each object should be a reminder of the divine presence. Each moment should be an opportunity for prayer. And he developed a series of complementary practices that, when combined with the morning holy water, create a virtually impenetrable spiritual shield. I will reveal these practices to you now. But first, I need to tell you the story of Mrs. Francesca, a 78-year-old woman who lives in a small town in the countryside of Minas Gerais. Let's change this to a small town in rural Georgia. Mrs. Francesca, a 78-year-old woman who lives in a small town in rural Georgia, learned about Padre Pio's teachings through a pilgrimage to San Giovanni Rotondo. There, she talked to nuns who had personally lived with the saint, and they taught her not only the holy water ritual, but a whole spiritual routine that would transform her home into a true oasis of peace. When Mrs. Francesca returned to the United States, she implemented everything she had learned. And what happened was so extraordinary that people from neighboring towns began to visit her house just to feel the special energy of the place. Today, Mrs. Francesca's house is known in the region as the house where God dwells. People who enter there leave transformed. Problems that seemed impossible find solutions. Illnesses are healed. Relationships are reconciled. Do you want to know what the secrets she learned are? The first complement to the holy water ritual is the consecration of the rooms. Padre Pio taught that each room in the house should be specifically blessed for a spiritual purpose. The living room should be consecrated to family peace, the master bedroom to marital harmony, the children's rooms to protection and wisdom, the kitchen to abundance and gratitude, the bathroom to spiritual purification. This consecration is done with holy oil, not just any oil. It's olive oil blessed specifically for this purpose, and it should be applied in the form of a cross on the doorframes of each room. But here's the detail that makes all the difference. The consecration must be done on Holy Thursday, because it's the day Christ shed his blood for the salvation of humanity. It's the day of greatest spiritual power in the Christian year. Francisca told me that the first year she did this consecration, her home was completely transformed. Family arguments ceased, financial problems were resolved, everyone's health improved, neighbors who were enemies were reconciled. It was as if a divine force had taken possession of the environment, as if angels had been assigned to protect every corner of that house. But there's more. The second element is even more powerful, and very few people know about it. Padre Pio taught that we should create points of spiritual light in our home, specific places where the divine presence manifests itself more intensely. The main one of these points is what he called a domestic altar. It's not just a crucifix on the wall. It's a space dedicated exclusively to family prayer, a place where the whole family gathers to talk to God. This altar should be in the main room of the house. It should have a crucifix, an image of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, an image of Our Lady, and a picture of Padre Pio. And it should be lit by a candle that never goes out. Yes, you heard right, an eternal flame like the Blessed Sacrament in churches. This candle represents the constant presence of Christ in your home, and it should be lit for the first time with blessed fire on Easter Vigil, the new fire that represents the resurrection of Jesus. Francisca has kept this flame burning for 15 years, and she told me it's the source of all the peace her family experiences. In times of crisis, they gather in front of the altar, and they always find a solution. Seems complicated to keep a candle always lit. Actually, it's simpler than it seems. You use 7-day candles. When one is almost finished, you light the next one with the flame of the previous one. That way, the fire never goes out, and there's a special technique for this. Padre Pio taught that we should whisper a prayer each time we change the candle, a prayer of gratitude for the blessings received and a plea for the blessings to come. Fernando, an engineer from Miami, implemented this practice in his home after a marital crisis that almost ended in divorce. His wife had discovered an infidelity. The children were suffering. The family was destroyed. It was his father-in-law, a devotee of Padre Pio, who suggested the creation of the domestic altar with the eternal flame. Fernando, desperate to save his marriage, decided to try. On the first day, when he lit the candle with blessed fire, his wife cried. She said she felt a peace she hadn't experienced in months. That very night, they talked for the first time without arguing. In the following days, whenever the tension increased, they went to the altar, and there, in the presence of the sacred flame, they were able to calm down and talk respectfully. In 3 months, the marriage was completely restored. Today, 10 years later, Fernando says that flame saved his family and that he will never again allow it to be extinguished, because that's what happens when we invite Christ to be the center of our home. He's not just a visitor, he becomes the Lord of the house. And where he reigns, peace prevails. But the third element is even more extraordinary, and few Catholics know its true power. Padre Pio taught about the importance of holy domestic hours, specific times of the day when the whole family stops their activities to pray together. They aren't long prayers, they are 5-minute moments, but they completely transform the energy of the house. The first holy hour is at dawn, along with the holy water ritual. The second is at noon, when the sun is at its highest point. The third is at dusk, when the day says goodbye. At each of these hours, the family gathers in front of the domestic altar. They pray an Our Father, 3 Hail Marys, and offer a spontaneous prayer of gratitude. Seems like little? That's exactly why it works. Padre Pio always said that God prefers consistency to intensity. 5 minutes every day is better than an hour once a week. Carla, a teacher from Chicago, implemented the holy hours in her home after her teenage son started using drugs. The family was in despair. They tried everything: psychologists, hospitalizations, changing schools. Nothing worked. That's when Carla learned about Padre Pio's teachings on holy domestic hours. At first, her son resisted, but she established a rule. Anyone who wanted to live in that house had to participate in family prayers. In the first few days, the boy participated reluctantly. He remained silent during prayers. He showed irritation, but Carla didn't give up. After 2 weeks, something changed. The boy began to speak during spontaneous prayers. Small things. Simple thanks, shy requests. In a month, he had completely abandoned drugs. He started studying again. He made new friends. His personality was transformed. Today, 15 years later, he is a family man, father of 3 children, and he maintains the holy hours in his own home, teaching his children what he learned from his mother, because that's what happens when we create sacred routines in our home. Not only does our family transform, future generations also benefit. The holy hours create a spiritual rhythm that sanctifies time. They transform ordinary days into holy days. They make our home pulse to the rhythm of God's heart. But there is a fourth element that Padre Pio considered fundamental, and which may seem strange to those who do not know the depth of Catholic spirituality. It is the weekly sprinkling with holy water. Every Sunday after returning from Mass, you should sprinkle all the rooms of the house with holy water. It's not just spraying. It's walking through each room, making the sign of the cross, and saying a specific prayer. For the living room, Lord, bless this place of family togetherness. May peace and love always reign here. For the bedrooms, Lord, protect the sleep and dreams of those who rest here. May angels guard this place. For the kitchen, Lord, bless the food prepared here. May bread never be lacking on our table. For the bathroom, Lord, purify this place, and may our souls also be purified here. This weekly sprinkling renews the spiritual protection of the home. It's as if you were renewing the vows of consecration of your home to God. Padre Antonio, a priest who personally knew Padre Pio, told me that families who follow this routine rarely need exorcism or special blessings. Because weekly sprinkling prevents negative forces from settling in the environment, he said something that profoundly impacted me. A house sprinkled weekly with holy water is an inexpugnable spiritual fortress, but there's an important detail. The sprinkling must always be done by the spiritual head of the family. In a traditional family, it should be the father. In a single-parent family, it should be the mother. If it's a couple without children, they can alternate. This is because there's a spiritual authority in the home that needs to be respected. When this authority consecrates the house, the entire family is placed under protection. Mark, a banker from Dallas, took on this responsibility in his home after a series of strange accidents befell his family. In 6 months, his wife had 3 car accidents. His son broke his arm twice. His daughter developed a mysterious allergy. It was his mother-in-law, a devout follower of Padre Pio, who suggested he start sprinkling the house weekly. Mark, although skeptical, decided to try. From the first sprinkling, the accident stopped. His daughter's allergy disappeared. His son stopped getting injured. His wife had no more problems in traffic. Coincidence? Mark doesn't believe it. Today, 3 years later, he never forgets to do the weekly sprinkling. And he says it's the most important moment of the week for him, because it is during the sprinkling that he feels most intensely his responsibility as the spiritual protector of his family. It's when he talks to God about each member of the household. It's when he renews his commitment to being a father and husband according to the heart of Christ. But it doesn't end there. There's a fifth element that Padre Pio considered the most powerful of all, something that can transform your home into a true center of miracles. It involves creating a Padre Pio corner in your house, a specific space dedicated exclusively to the saint of the stigmata, with his image, his relics, his writings, and an atmosphere conducive to talking to him. It's not idolatry, it's veneration. As Catholics, we believe in the communion of saints. We believe that those who are already in heaven can intercede for us. And Padre Pio is one of the most powerful intercessors there is. This corner should have an image of Padre Pio, preferably an image where he appears with the stigmata, because the stigmata are the sign of his special union with Christ, and it is through this union that he works miracles. It should also have a vial of oil blessed at Padre Pio's tomb. This oil has a special power. Many miraculous cures are attributed to it. And you can anoint sick people or apply it to their temples during moments of anguish. There should always be a candle lit. It doesn't need to be an eternal flame like on the main altar. It can be a regular candle that you light during your prayers to Padre Pio, and there should be a special notebook, the Notebook of Graces, where you write down all the requests you make to Padre Pio, and also all the graces you receive through his intercession. Rose, a homemaker from Austin, created a Padre Pio corner in her home after her husband was diagnosed with cancer. Doctors gave him only 6 months to live. Every day, Rose spent hours talking to Padre Pio, asking for his intercession, anointing her husband with the holy oil, writing in the Notebook of Graces every small improvement she observed. 6 months later, in the checkup exams, the cancer had completely disappeared. The doctors couldn't explain it. They classified it as an inexplicable, spontaneous remission, but Rose knew it hadn't been spontaneous. It had been the powerful intercession of Padre Pio. Today, 5 years later, her husband remains cured, and she keeps the Padre Pio corner as a treasure in her home. Because that's what happens when we create a personal connection with the saints. They become our friends in heaven, our advocates before God, our protectors in spiritual battles. But there's something even deeper that Padre Pio taught about the sanctification of the home, something that goes beyond rituals and practices, something that touches the essence of Christian life. He said that our house should be an extension of the church, that our family should be a domestic church, that our home should be a place where Christ feels at home. And how do we do this in practice? First, through constant prayer, not just at set times, but throughout the day. Quick prayers while we cook, ejaculatory prayers while we clean, offerings while we work. Second, through family charity, treating each family member as if they were Christ himself, serving with joy, forgiving readily, loving unconditionally. Third, through the conscious presence of God, always remembering that he is watching, listening, participating in everything that happens in our home, acting as if we were in the presence of the Blessed Sacrament. This completely transforms the atmosphere of the home. We don't need to shout to be heard. We don't need to fight to resolve conflicts. We don't need to worry excessively about the future, because we know that we are under God's loving gaze, that he is taking care of everything, that his will always prevail. Teresa, a businesswoman from Chicago, implemented this awareness of the divine presence in her home after a severe family crisis. Her 3 teenage children were rebellious. Her marriage was in crisis. Her business was failing. She decided to transform her home into a true domestic church. She implemented all the practices that Padre Pio taught. And above all, she began to live each moment as if Christ were physically present. The transformation was gradual but profound. The children began to behave better. Her husband began to show affection again. The business recovered. But more important than all of that, Teresa found an inner peace she had never experienced before. Today, 10 years later, her home is known among friends as a little piece of heaven on earth. People who visit Teresa leave renewed. Couples in crisis seek her advice. Confused young people find direction, because that's what happens when our home becomes truly Christian. It radiates the light of Christ. It attracts the blessings of heaven. It becomes an instrument of salvation. But there's something I need to warn you about. It won't always be easy to maintain these practices. There will be moments of discouragement, days when you forget to put the holy water in the window, weeks when you won't be able to do the sprinkling. That's normal. We are human. We have limitations. But the important thing is to always start again. Don't give up. Don't blame yourself excessively. Just resume the practices with humility and determination. Padre Pio said that God doesn't look at the perfection of our practices. He looks at the sincerity of our hearts, at the love with which we do things, at the genuine desire to please him. So don't worry if you can't do everything perfectly at first. Start slowly. Implement one practice at a time. Let it become a habit before adding another. The most important thing is to begin, to take that first step, to open your home and your heart to God's transformative power. And always remember, you are not alone on this journey. Padre Pio is interceding for you. Our Lady is protecting your home. Jesus is walking beside you. Every drop of holy water you place on your window is a prayer ascending to heaven. Every candle you light is a beacon guiding your family. Every sprinkling you make is an act of love that transforms your home. start tomorrow. Before the sun rises, go to the window facing east. Place 3 drops of holy water on the sill, say a simple prayer, and entrust your day into God's hands. Over the next few days, observe the small changes, the little miracles, the small blessings. Write them down in a notebook. Give thanks for each one, share them with others, because that's how God's kingdom grows. Through small acts of faith, through families who choose to be holy, through homes that become sanctuaries. And one day, when you look back, you will see that your life has been completely transformed, that your family has been abundantly blessed, that your home has become a little piece of heaven on earth. That's Padre Pio's promise to all those who trust in his teachings, a promise sealed with the stigmata of Christ, a promise that is fulfilled in the lives of all who embrace it with faith. Tomorrow's dawn could be the beginning of a new life for you and your family. The moment everything changes, the instant the heavens open up over your home. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Embrace Padre Pio's teachings. Transform your house into a sanctuary and prepare to experience miracles every day. Because when God dwells in our home, every sunrise is a new creation. Every day is a new blessing. Every moment is a new opportunity to experience the Father's infinite love. May the light that touches the holy water on your window tomorrow be the beginning of a life illuminated by the divine presence. May Padre Pio's blessings accompany you and your family today and always, and may your home truly become a gateway to heaven here on earth.